The stories in this episode come from the Reddit community and are not my own. Links to their original source are in the description, as well as contact information should you wish to either submit your own story or request the removal of a story from an episode. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stories with me, Jesse. Today we have our first viewer submission from Reddit/storieswithjesse, originally posted over at Reddit/regularrevenge. Loyal viewer and Reddit user Big Gloiner has kindly sent me his personal story of pain followed by sweet payback. Strap yourselves in and prepare yourself, cause we're getting started now. Our story is titled, I Ruined His Birthday for Beating Me Up. Okay, so a bit of backstory. This happened 4 years ago, and I still remember it to this day. So my family and I were renting out a friend's house for the summer while they went on holidays. Their house was located in a housing estate in North Madrid, which we still rent out, and their house was the only house in the estate with a trampoline, which made a lot of kids jealous of them. Anyway, so we get to the house, and there is a note saying that we have permission to use the trampoline, and if any of the other kids want to go, they have to ask my parents. So I end up making friends with the local kids, whom I am still friends today with, and they accepted me into their group pretty fast. I am Irish, but my mom is Spanish, so I can speak the language, but one kid from the group seemed to take a disliking to me. For privacy reasons, I will call him Paul. I got the idea Paul never really liked me. I think it could have been because I was a foreigner who was grabbing his friend's attention by speaking Spanish fluently. But still, it doesn't excuse how he treated me. One day, me and Paul and some other boys were hanging out at the jungle gym inside the estate. It was a big estate, so the jungle gym fit. And Paul begins arguing with one of the boys about the Far Cry 4 video game, and it got really heated. So I promptly f***ed off to my trampoline. Paul and the boys see this and ask if they can go on as well. I don't know what to say, so I just replied with, yes, in a weak tone. Big mistake. They all get on, and before I know it, there are girls and other kids queuing to get on. Disaster strikes when one of the girls bouncing rips a hole through the bottom, don't ask me how, and all of the kids scram out of the front yard, knowing that someone's gonna get yelled at, and it's not going to be them. The girl who broke the trampoline stays and explains what happened to my parents. They were understanding and glad she was honest, but gave me a light scolding for not asking them about the trampoline. So a few days later, Paul has gotten into another heated argument, and I am sick of hearing this whiny bullshit. So I head towards the trampoline. We had to buy a new one. Paul again asks me if he can go on. I tell him that he needs to ask my parents, and he does, but they say no. And he says, "Why is he allowed to go on?" pointing at me. My parents tell him it's because the landlords gave me permission to use it, and they said if any other kid wanted to use it, they had to ask them. Paul walked off after that, but he came and confronted me with two of his goons, who were really just some other kids that had been at the trampoline incident, and tells me I am the worst friend ever, and how selfish I was for not letting him jump on the trampoline, and a bunch of other degrading stuff. As he is about to leave, one of the boys that was with him slaps me, and Paul kicks me as hard as he could in the stomach, making me double over. It came as a surprise nonetheless. I retreat back into the house, cause what is a 10-year-old boy meant to do once he has been attacked by someone he thought was his friend? I decided to tell my dad, who is furious with Paul and wants to go over to his house and give him a piece of his mind, but I stop him as I don't want the situation to escalate further. A week has passed since the incident, and I am thinking of a way to get Paul back when I get called down by my real friends who ask me if I'm going to Paul's birthday party today. I was invited by Paul's grandma, who had become friends with my mom, so I responded yes. Then, before the party, we are hanging out with these well-known troublemaking trio of brothers who are all between the ages of 2 to 4. I say hanging out, but it's more like them walking up to us and my friends and I not being bothered to move. So the party is about to begin, when suddenly I have the most brilliant idea I have gotten all day and the perfect way to get back at Paul. I tell the trio of brothers that there is a party going on in the garden of the estate and they are invited. They get excited and rush over to Paul and the other kids with me trailing behind. The trio ask if they can join the party, and Paul's grandma, being the kind person she was, she got grumpier over the years, but that's another story. Let them into the party, and their parents began chatting with Paul's grandma, completely ignoring the trio. As it turned out, my plan was a good one, and like I predicted, the trio of brothers started going wild. They were eating all of the crisps and sweets left out for the party, disrupting the film that was being projected onto the screen that Paul had somehow managed to hang up outside, and basically creating a mess. The cherry on top was them eating slices of the cake that Paul had laid out. The trio's parents eventually noticed and took them home, apologizing profusely. Meanwhile, Paul is just staring at his half-eaten cake, and he just storms into the house with tears in his eyes. I honestly felt kind of bad for him, but he was asking for it when he beat me up. Anyway, Paul never found out I was the one who told the trio about the party, and I still bring it up to this day, and he is still clueless on how they were told. Paul and me became friendlier towards each other as the summers progressed, but I still don't trust him at all. TLDR, so-called friends beat me up over a trampoline ride, so I ruin his birthday party by telling the most troublemaking kids I know that they are invited to it, and they eat half of his cake. What a shame that something as simple as a trampoline could spark a fight between kids. And for you to get picked on by a group is rather petty and unfair on Paul's part. Not all revenge stories have to involve destroying someone's life. Sometimes it's something as simple as ruining a birthday party. And while the pursuit of vengeance can potentially lead to toxic behavior, I think it's great that you two have been able to coexist as time has passed. And how funny is it that he still has no idea it was you who unleashed those little beasts on his party? Thank you again, Big Gloiner, for sharing your story with us. But what did you guys think of this story? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and consider submitting your own story by joining the Reddit/storieswithjesse community through the link in the description, because if you have a story, I'd love to share it. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for tuning in with me, Jesse. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and check out what other stories I have for you. I'll catch you in the next one.